I pretended to be a broke mechanic to completely test the woman I loved. For 3 long years, I hid my $50 billion empire from my gorgeous wife, Isabella. I desperately wanted to know if she loved me for my heart or just my wallet. But on our 3rd anniversary, she finally showed me her true toxic colors. I bought her a simple, heartfelt gift with my fake mechanic salary. She looked at the cheap dress, laughed cruelly, and ripped it apart with her bare hands. I deserve a billionaire king, not a greasy, pathetic loser, she sneered in front of everyone. That's exactly when her secret wealthy lover stepped out of the shadows. He was the arrogant, flashy CEO of a massive corporate investment bank. He wrapped his arm around my wife's waist and threw a massive stack of cash directly at my boots. Buy yourself a new life, trash. She belongs to a real man now. He laughed. Isabella kissed him passionately, completely humiliating me in public. I looked down at the dirty money on the floor and then I started to laugh. I didn't pick up the cash. Instead, I pulled out a solid gold satellite phone. I dialed one highly classified number and whispered, "Execute the hostile takeover immediately!" Within seconds, the deafening sound of heavy helicopter blades shattered the sky above us. A massive fleet of black armored SUVs violently surrounded the luxury restaurant. 50 elite bodyguards carrying assault rifles stormed the outdoor patio. They immediately formed a perfect line and bowed deeply to me in absolute silence. My head financial advisor rushed forward, sweating profusely and shaking in fear. He handed me a glowing digital tablet calling me Mr. Chairman for everyone to hear. The arrogant CEO physically stumbled backward, his face turning pale white. You own the Vanguard Empire?" He stuttered in pure, unadulterated terror. "I own your bank, your assets, and your entire pathetic life," I replied coldly. Isabella dropped heavily to her knees, crying desperately and grabbing my dirty mechanic boots. "Please, Julian, it was just a joke. I love you," she sobbed hysterically. I elegantly kicked her hands away, radiating absolute, terrifying dominance. I signed the digital contract, instantly liquidating the CEO's entire net worth. My guards stripped them of their expensive coats and violently threw them out onto the street. Today, my ex-wife begs for spare change outside the very bank I now own.
My cheating ex-boyfriend invited me to his billionaire wedding just to watch me cry in the back row. But his arrogant smile vanished when the church doors burst open and I walked down the aisle as his brand new stepmother. My name is Mia, and I'm about to show you exactly how a broke, heartbroken girl buys a billionaire's bloodline. To understand how I completely destroyed his life, we have to go back to the night he threw me out. For 3 agonizing years, I worked 3 miserable jobs to support Liam while he secretly built a fortune. I trusted him completely until the day his tech company finally went public and made millions. I came home to our tiny apartment, exhausted and wearing my cheapest clothes, only to find my bags thrown out. Liam was standing there in a pristine designer suit, tightly holding the waist of Chloe, a wealthy, stuck-up brunette. "You're too poor and pathetic for me now, Mia. I'm marrying someone in my own elite class." He smirked viciously. He tossed a crumpled $20 bill at my face and slammed the heavy door, leaving me completely homeless. I sat on the freezing, wet pavement, crying uncontrollably as the heavy rain washed away my entire future. But exactly 2 days later, destiny handed me the ultimate, perfectly lethal weapon for revenge. I was walking past a high-end luxury hotel when an older, sharply dressed man suddenly collapsed on the sidewalk. Wealthy pedestrians completely ignored him, but I rushed over, aggressively performing CPR until the paramedics arrived. I visited him in the VIP hospital wing the next morning, only to discover his name was Arthur. Arthur wasn't just any wealthy man. He was a $10 billion, incredibly ruthless real estate tycoon. And the sickening, twisted plot twist? He was Liam's estranged, extremely powerful father. Liam had completely lied about building his own company. He was secretly draining his father's massive trust fund. Arthur sat in his hospital bed, his sharp, intimidating eyes analyzing my innocent baby face and my curves. My son is a greedy, toxic parasite, and he thinks he's inheriting my empire with that awful girl, Arthur growled. He looked at me with a cold, calculating, billionaire smirk. I want to completely destroy his ego, and you are the perfect weapon. Marry me, Mia. I will give you half of my $10 billion empire, and you will become his worst nightmare. My eyes widened in pure shock. I looked down at my worn-out shoes, and then back at Arthur's terrifyingly calm face. A dark, wicked, incredibly toxic smile slowly spread across my glossy lips as I whispered, "I accept." For the next 2 weeks, I was completely transformed. The poor, pathetic, crying girl was absolutely dead. Arthur's elite styling team dressed me in custom, dangerously tight designer gowns that screamed absolute power. We signed an ironclad marriage contract, officially transferring $5 billion directly into my personal bank account. The day of Liam's massive, highly publicized wedding finally arrived, and the tension was absolutely suffocating. The Grand Cathedral was packed with 500 of the city's wealthiest elites, with cameras flashing everywhere. I sat in a sleek, black Maybach outside the church, my heart pounding aggressively against my ribs. Inside, Liam was standing proudly at the altar in his expensive white tuxedo, holding Chloe's hands. The older priest cleared his throat. "If anyone objects to this holy union, speak now or forever. Hold your peace." Suddenly, the massive, heavy oak doors of the cathedral violently burst open with a deafening thud. The entire church gasped in unified shock. The organ music violently stopped, and absolute silence fell. I stood powerfully in the doorway, wearing a jaw-dropping, dangerously tight black wedding dress. Every single eye in the opulent room was glued to my incredibly sexy, commanding alpha female figure. Liam's jaw completely dropped. He turned pale, staring at me in sheer, unadulterated terror. "Mia? What the hell are you doing here? Security, throw this trash out!" Liam screamed hysterically. I just smirked wickedly, slowly linking my arm through the arm of the man standing right next to me in the shadows. Arthur stepped forward into the light, wearing a sharp, bespoke tuxedo, radiating absolute, untouchable power. Liam physically stumbled backward, clutching his chest in panic. "Dad? What? Why is she with you?" Arthur looked at his son with pure, freezing disgust. "Watch your mouth when you speak to my wife, Liam." The entire cathedral erupted in explosive gasps and chaotic whispers as reporters aggressively raised their cameras. "Wife? You married this pathetic gold digger?" Chloe shrieked, her face turning ugly and red with intense rage. I elegantly strutted down the aisle, my expensive high heels clicking powerfully against the marble floor. I stopped right in front of them, looking down at my cheating ex with a cold, terrifyingly alpha female smirk. "It's stepmother, actually." "You should show some respect to your elders," I whispered, my voice dripping with toxic venom. Arthur stood powerfully beside me. "I reviewed your company's finances, Liam. You've been stealing my money." Liam began to sweat profusely, giant drops rolling down his face as his entire arrogant world completely collapsed. "So, as a wedding gift, I am officially cutting you out of the will. Every single penny is going to Mia." "No, you can't do this. That money belongs to me," Liam sobbed hysterically, dropping heavily to his knees. "Actually," I interrupted, slowly pulling a glowing legal document from my designer clutch. As the new majority shareholder of your tech company, I am officially firing you, Liam. You are completely bankrupt. Chloe looked at Liam in sheer horror. You're broke. I'm not marrying a pathetic broke loser. She violently ripped off her massive diamond engagement ring, threw it directly at Liam's face, and ran away screaming. Liam crawled pathetically on the marble floor, desperately grabbing the black lace hem of my wedding dress. Mia, please. I'm sorry. I still love you. Take me back, he begged, crying pathetic, ugly tears in front of everyone. I looked down at the ruined, miserable man who had thrown me out in the freezing rain just a month ago. I felt absolute 0% pity for him in my cold heart. I aggressively yanked my dress away from his filthy hands, looking at him with pure, cold-blooded disgust. Get your hands off my dress. You can't afford it, I ordered coldly, asserting my absolute dominance. Arthur snapped his fingers sharply. 6 heavily armed private security guards instantly stormed the altar. They roughly grabbed Liam by his ruined white tuxedo, dragging him violently down the long aisle. He kicked and screamed hysterically, entirely humiliated in front of the city's 500 wealthiest elites. The heavy cathedral doors slammed shut behind him, sealing my ultimate, flawless victory. Arthur looked at me and smiled warmly, kissing my hand with absolute, genuine respect. We didn't just stage a fake marriage. We actually became an incredible, unstoppable billionaire team. Today, Liam is working a minimum wage job, living in a tiny, cramped apartment, completely isolated and miserable. Meanwhile, I am sitting on the throne of a $10 billion empire, sipping vintage champagne. I wear custom-tailored designer suits that show off my massive curves, completely commanding every room I enter. I am no longer the poor, pathetic girl crying in the freezing rain. I am the ultimate alpha female, and I literally own the man who tried to destroy me. He thought he could throw me out into the storm, but I came back as the absolute hurricane. Never, ever underestimate a gorgeous girl with a baby face and a broken heart. If you love a lethal, incredibly satisfying karma story, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Share this video with a friend who needs a savage reminder to never let anyone treat them like trash. Click the video on the screen right now to watch another shocking story of ultimate revenge. Thank you so much for watching, and always remember to watch your back. See you in the next scandalous secret.
The billionaire's arrogant fiancé forced me to my knees to scrub her designer shoes, but her cruel laughter stopped when she realized the lowly maid scrubbing her feet owned her entire bloodline. I'm Alara, and I have the innocent face of a servant, but the ruthless heart of a mafia heiress. Exactly 1 month ago, I was working 12-hour shifts for Julian, a disgustingly wealthy tech billionaire. His icy blonde fiancée, Isabella, made it her personal mission to make my life a living hell. You missed a spot. Trash, she smirked, deliberately pouring red wine onto the clean marble floor. But on a freezing, rainy night, a fleet of black SUVs pulled up to the servants' entrance. Elite corporate lawyers stepped out and handed me a glowing golden envelope. DNA tests had officially confirmed I was the sole legitimate heir to the Vanguard Empire. I had just inherited exactly $50 billion overnight. "What are your orders, Madam Chairman?" the head lawyer asked respectfully. "I want to buy the entire debt of Julian's tech company, every single penny," I ordered in the shadows. The grand finale of my revenge was their highly publicized engagement party. I was carrying a heavy silver tray of champagne when Isabella intentionally stuck out her foot. the tray shattered violently onto the polished marble floor. "Clean it up, garbage! On your knees!" Isabella shrieked hysterically. I slowly lowered myself amid the shattered glass, gripping a white cloth. Isabella raised her whine, declaring, "That's exactly where people like you belong, at my feet." I didn't scrub the shoe. I slowly stood back up, radiating absolute, terrifying dominance. I elegantly tossed the dirty cloth directly into her shocked face. "I think," I whispered, "I am officially firing you from my house." Before their security could move, the massive oak doors violently burst open. 20 elite bodyguards stormed the room, completely surrounding me as the lead lawyer bowed perfectly. Julian physically stumbled backward, clutching his chest in sheer panic when he heard them call me Madame Chairman. I slammed the foreclosure document onto his chest. "I own every single debt your pathetic company owes, Julian. I bought your family's bank yesterday, Isabella. You are completely bankrupt." Julian dropped heavily to his knees on the glass, begging desperately while Isabella fell next to him. "Please, I'll scrub the floors," she sobbed, grabbing my maid uniform, but I violently yanked it away. "Get your hands off me. You literally cannot afford to touch me," I snapped. I snapped my fingers, and my guards dragged the screaming billionaires out of the ballroom as I untied my cheap apron. Today, they work minimum wage jobs while I sit on the throne of a $50 billion empire. So never underestimate the quiet girl serving your drinks.
I am wearing a $3 million engagement ring from a billionaire, but my new stepson is my secret one-night stand. Hi, I'm Chloe, and my perfect, luxurious life just turned into a twisted, high-stakes game of seduction. I've always been fiercely independent, working my way up as a top-tier luxury real estate agent in the city. My days were spent in glass offices, closing multi-million-dollar deals and looking absolutely flawless while doing it. I thought I had everything under control until the day I was hired to sell a massive luxury penthouse. That's how I met Julian, a devastatingly handsome silver fox billionaire who immediately caught my attention. Julian wasn't just wealthy. He was charming, powerful, and he practically worshipped the ground I walked on. He started pursuing me relentlessly, sending hundreds of red roses to my office every single morning. Soon we were flying on his private jets, dining in Paris and sleeping in five-star suites. Julian spoiled me with designer wardrobes and treated me like an absolute, untouchable queen. I had finally secured the ultimate fairy tale that every single girl dreams of having. On our 6-month anniversary, Julian took me to a private yacht under the starry night sky. He got down on one knee and presented a massive, custom-made diamond engagement ring. I said yes, completely blinded by the luxury, the absolute safety, and his warm smile. But to understand how this fairy tale became a total nightmare, we need to rewind a bit. Exactly 6 months before I met Julian, my friends dragged me on a wild girls trip to Miami. I had just gone through a terrible breakup and desperately needed a night of reckless fun. We ended up in an exclusive neon-lit underground club, surrounded by thumping music and heavy drinking. That's when I saw him across the VIP room, a mysterious, dangerously hot blonde guy staring right at me. We never exchanged names, but the physical chemistry between us was instantly and undeniably explosive. He pulled me onto the dance floor, and before I knew it, we were in his hotel room. It was the most unforgettable, intensely passionate one-night stand of my entire life. When I woke up the next morning, he was still asleep, looking like a literal dark angel. I quietly slipped out of the room, leaving absolutely no number and no trace behind. I convinced myself it was just a crazy vacation memory that I would eventually forget. But I could never truly get his intense dark eyes or his heated touch out of my mind. Fast forward to the present day. I was officially moving into Julian's sprawling mega mansion. The estate was breathtaking, complete with flawless marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and an army of staff. Julian wanted to celebrate my arrival by throwing a lavish high society welcome party. He also mentioned casually that his only son was flying back from Europe just to meet me. I wanted to make the absolute perfect first impression as the future stepmother of the estate. I spent hours getting ready, putting on my most breathtaking, tight, backless red evening gown. The mansion was filled with wealthy guests, sipping expensive champagne and listening to a live orchestra. I took a deep, shaky breath and began walking down the grand marble staircase to join Julian. Julian was standing at the bottom, beaming with pride, chatting with a tall young man. "Chloe, darling, come meet my son," Julian called out, his voice echoing in the grand hall. The young man slowly turned around, holding a crystal tumbler of whiskey in his hand. My heart completely stopped. The champagne glass slipped from my fingers and shattered on the floor. Standing there, wearing a wicked, knowing smirk, was the mysterious stranger from Miami. My unforgettable one-night stand was Julian's son, Liam. The hottest, most dangerous mistake of my life. I was completely paralyzed with sheer panic, but Liam didn't miss a single beat. He smoothly walked over, stepping over the broken glass, and extended his hand to me politely. "It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Chloe," Liam said, his voice dripping with hidden sarcasm. Julian completely missed the heavy, suffocating sexual tension crackling between us in the room. He proudly pulled Liam into a fatherly hug, laughing about how great the family looked together. As Julian turned his back to greet another guest, Liam immediately leaned into my personal space. "Looking forward to having you in the family, stepmom," he whispered right against my ear. A massive shiver ran straight down my spine. I was trapped in a beautiful billionaire's cage. The rest of the dinner party was absolute torture. I could barely swallow my expensive food. Liam sat directly across from me at the long dining table, never breaking his intense eye contact. Every time Julian praised me, Liam would take a slow sip of dark wine and smirk darkly. The next morning, Julian kissed my forehead and left for a week-long corporate business trip. I was left entirely alone in the massive, echoing mansion. Or at least, so I thought. I walked down to the vast, modern kitchen in my silk robe to get some morning coffee. Liam was already there, leaning against the marble counter, shirtless and dangerously fit. "Sleep well, stepmom?" he asked, his dark eyes slowly trailing up and down my body. I tried to act cold and professional, reminding him that I was marrying his wealthy father. He just laughed, stepping closer until I was backed up against the cold refrigerator door. "My dad doesn't know you like I do, Chloe," he murmured, his breath hot on my neck. I pushed him away and ran back to my room, my heart pounding completely out of my chest. But Liam was completely relentless. He constantly found excuses to corner me when the maids weren't looking. One afternoon, I was sunbathing by the estate's massive infinity pool, trying my best to relax. Liam suddenly dove into the water, surfacing right at the edge of my white lounge chair. Drops of water fell from his blonde hair as he stared at me with pure, undeniable hunger. If Julian finds out the truth, I'll lose my billionaire lifestyle and my flawless reputation forever. But resisting Liam was becoming impossible. The forbidden nature of it only fueled the burning fire. Things reached a dangerous breaking point a few nights later in Julian's grand, dark library. I was reading a book when Liam walked in and explicitly locked the heavy oak doors behind him. The room was completely dark, lit only by the fireplace. He walked toward me with clear intention. "Tell me you don't want this," Liam challenged, gently grabbing my waist and pulling me close. I opened my mouth to protest, but the words completely died in my throat as he looked at me. Our faces were inches apart. The tension was so thick it was driving me absolutely insane. Suddenly, we heard the heavy sound of car tires crunching loudly on the gravel driveway outside. Julian was home 2 days early. We instantly sprang apart, fixing our messy clothes in a sheer panic. Julian walked into the library seconds later, looking tired but genuinely happy to see us both. I missed you, darling, Julian smiled, kissing my cheek while Liam watched angrily from the shadows. Now, Julian is aggressively pushing to move our wedding date up to next month. I am literally suffocating under the crushing weight of this massive, scandalous secret in this house. Liam told me yesterday that if I walk down the aisle, he will ruin the wedding entirely. I have to choose a safe, billionaire future or a dangerous, passionate mistake. Subscribe for part 2.